The moment you put smart glasses on your face, there's a question no spec sheet can answer. Not how sharp is the display or how many features does it have, but something much quieter and more personal. Does this actually belong on my face in my daily life around real people? Because smart glasses don't live in your pocket. They live on you. And that makes this comparison far more interesting than it sounds. Imagine this. You're standing outside your house, keys in one hand, phone in the other. You pause. Not because something's wrong, but because today, instead of reaching for your phone, you're already wearing your tech. And the question hits you, which version of the future do you want sitting on your face right now? Because these are two very different answers to the same problem. On one side, the Meta Ray-Ban display glasses, a pair that openly says, yes, I am technology. On the other, the Even Realities G2, a pair that almost apologizes for being smart glasses at all. And both of them are trying to win the same spot, the space between your eyes and the real world. Before we get into features, cameras, screens, or controls, something much more important happens the first time you wear them. People look at you. Or they don't. And that reaction sets the tone for everything that follows. Let's start with design. Because no matter how advanced technology becomes, if it doesn't feel right on your face, the rest barely matters. Design is subjective. Yes, some people love bold tech. Others want invisibility. But size and weight are not subjective. And that's where the differences start to quietly shape your experience. The Even G2 immediately feels like glasses first. They are smaller, lighter, and visually closer to what you'd expect from every day. Eyewear. You can wear them for hours, walk into a shop, talk to someone face to face, and nothing about the interaction changes. People don't stare. People don't ask questions. And that's not an accident. The G2 clearly prioritizes blending in. It feels like technology trying to disappear. The Meta Ray-Ban display does the opposite. It doesn't try to hide its ambition. They're chunkier, there's more volume, more visible structure. When you wear them, they feel like a statement. Not a bad one, but a noticeable one. The message is clear. There's a lot happening inside these frames. And that extra bulk exists. For a reason, which we'll get to in a moment. But before that, there's a subtle psychological effect. When something looks high-tech, people treat it like high-tech. Conversations shift. Eye contact changes. You're aware of it, even if no one says it out loud. And this is where the future of smart glasses quietly splits into two philosophies. 1. Philosophy says smart glasses should replace as many devices as possible. Headphones, camera, phone interactions, media consumption. The Meta Ray-Ban display leans heavily into that idea. It includes cameras for photos and videos. It includes open-ear speakers built into the arms so you can listen to music, take calls, and hear voice responses without earbuds. These features are not hidden. They are central to what the glasses are. They turn the glasses into a social and media device that happens to live on your face. The other philosophy says smart glasses should support you without pulling attention away from the world. The Even G2 takes this route. It intentionally avoids cameras. It intentionally avoids built-in speakers. Not because it can't have them, but because including them changes how the glasses behave socially. When there's no camera, no one wonders if they're being recorded. When there's no speaker, there's no sound leaking into shared spaces. The glasses stay quiet. And that silence becomes part of the design. At first, this feels like a limitation, and honestly, it is. You can't take photos with the G2. You can't listen to music directly through them. But as you wear them more, something interesting happens. You stop thinking about what's missing and start noticing what stays consistent. Comfort, lightness, forgetting they're there. That's a different kind of progress, but design isn't just how something looks. It's how it sits, how it balances, how it behaves after an hour, then 2, then half a day. The Meta Ray-Ban display carries more weight because it carries more hardware. Cameras, speakers, display, and the systems that support them all demand space. This makes long sessions more noticeable. Not unbearable, but present. You are aware you're wearing something advanced. The Even G2 works backward. It starts with the idea of a regular pair of glasses and asks, what technology can realistically live here without breaking the illusion? The result is a pair you can genuinely wear all day, sitting at a desk, walking outside, Even driving, the glasses don't ask for attention. They wait, and that waiting becomes important when we talk about displays because displays are where smart glasses often cross the line from helpful to intrusive. The Even G2 uses two small monochrome displays, one for each eye. Not for video, not for entertainment. For information, text, notifications, navigation cues. The content appears in a way that respects depth, meaning it doesn't feel pasted onto your vision. And because the displays are transparent and subtle, your eyes don't feel like they're fighting the real world. You're still looking through the glasses, not at them. The Meta Ray-Ban display takes a very different approach. It uses a single display in the right eye. It's colorful, sharp for its size, and capable of showing richer content, messages, media elements, interface screens. But there's a trade-off that becomes apparent with time. Humans see the world with two eyes, and when information appears only on one side, your brain has to adapt. Some people adjust quickly. Others feel strain after extended use. This isn't about quality, it's about biology. One eye doing extra work changes the experience. Even when the screen is technically impressive, and here's the part that doesn't show up in spec comparisons. Screen placement affects how you behave in real life. With the G2, information feels optional. You can glance at it, then ignore it. With the Meta Ray-Ban display, information feels present. Even when you're not actively using it, you know where it lives. And that awareness subtly changes how often you check it. Controls deepen this difference even more. Both glasses include touch areas on the frames. You can swipe, tap, and interact directly. But neither of them truly comes alive until you use. They're companion input devices. For Even G2, that's a ring. A small, wearable ring with a button. Simple. Click to select. Double-click to go back, nothing fancy. But what makes it powerful is precision. When you want to interact, it's there. When you don't, nothing happens. The Meta Ray-Ban display uses a wrist-worn neural band. This is where things start to feel like science fiction. The band reads muscle and nerve signals from your wrist to interpret intent. You move your fingers slightly, and the system translates that movement into scrolling, selecting, or adjusting volume. When it works, it feels like magic. The first time you scroll through a menu without touching anything, it's genuinely impressive. But magic has a learning curve. The band needs to be worn correctly, sized correctly. And sometimes it interprets gestures you didn't intend. You might adjust your hand naturally and trigger an action by accident. It doesn't happen constantly, but when it does, you notice. And noticing is the opposite of invisibility. This leads to a surprising realization. Advanced interaction isn't always better interaction. The ring feels old school by comparison, but it's predictable, reliable, calm. And in daily life, calm matters. Now. Before we talk about what these glasses actually do in everyday situations, shopping, walking, conversations, navigation, there's one more foundation we need to understand. Battery life. Because no matter how smart glasses are, they still live in the real world. Where charging matters, the Even G2 lasts longer on a single charge. It's designed around information, not media. Text consumes less power than audio and video. That efficiency shows up in daily use. You don't constantly wonder if they'll survive the day. The Meta Ray-Ban display consumes more energy because it does more. Cameras, speakers, display, processing, all of it adds up. The charging case helps. Both glasses rely on their cases to stay topped up, but the mindset is different. With Meta, you plan sessions. With Even, you build habits. And that's where this comparison starts to stop being about technology and starts becoming about people, because the real question isn't which glasses are more advanced. It's which version of advancement fits how you live. Do you want glasses that actively participate in your life, capturing, playing, responding? Or do you want glasses that quietly assist, stepping in only when invited? And we haven't even talked yet about productivity, navigation, translations, or how these glasses behave when you're surrounded by other people. That's where things get even more interesting. And slightly uncomfortable. So now that you've seen how they sit on your face, how they feel over time, and how they choose to interact with you, let's move into what happens when you actually live with them outside in public during real moments, because that's where one of these glasses starts to reveal a side you might not expect at all. Now here's where things stop being theoretical and start becoming personal. Because it's one thing to wear smart glasses at home, testing menus and displays. It's a completely different experience when you step outside with them on your face and let real life collide with the technology. The first real test is always movement. Walking down a street, crossing a road, entering a store. These are moments where your eyes, your awareness, and your comfort all matter at the same time. And this is where the philosophies behind Meta Ray-Ban Display and even G2 begin to separate even further. With the even G2, walking feels unchanged. That might sound boring, but it's actually the point. Notifications appear softly when they're relevant. Navigation cues sit calmly in your field of view instead of pulling your attention. You don't feel rushed to react. If you ignore the display, it doesn't punish you by staying there. It fades into the background. And over time, you start trusting it. You know it's available, but you don't feel watched by it. Now, try the same walk with the Meta Ray-Ban display. The experience becomes more layered. You hear audio cues through the open-ear speakers. You might receive a call. You might trigger a voice interaction. The world doesn't disappear, but it does compete. You're suddenly managing sound, vision, and intention all at once. For some people, this feels empowering. For others, it feels like juggling, and that's the first major question you'll answer without realizing it. You want smart glasses to add layers to your environment or quietly support what's already there. This difference becomes even more noticeable in social situations. Imagine standing in line at a coffee shop. Someone ahead of you turns around and smiles. With the even G2, nothing changes. Your glasses don't interrupt the moment. There's no camera staring back at them. No speaker holes hinting at recording. The interaction stays human. With the Meta Ray-Ban display, the presence of cameras and audio subtly changes the dynamic. Even when you're not recording and you're not, the fact that the hardware exists is enough to create awareness. Some people won't care at all. Others will glance twice. And you become conscious of that. You might hesitate before raising your head. You might think twice about adjusting the glasses. None of this is dramatic. It's subtle. But smart glasses live in the subtle space between intention and behavior. And subtle shifts add up. Now, let's talk about how these glasses behave when you actually use them for something practical. Shopping, for example. With the even G2, pulling up a list feels natural. Items appear in front of you, clean and readable. You scroll using the ring, click to check things off, your hands stay free. You don't need to hold your phone. You don't need to glance down. And because the display is monochrome and minimal, it doesn't distract from the shelves in front of you. With the Meta Ray-Ban display, shopping feels different. You're more likely to interact through audio. Maybe checking messages, maybe responding to a call. The display supports this, but the experience leans toward communication rather than organization. You're connected, but not necessarily structured. It's a small difference, but it reveals a lot about what each product values, and that brings us to productivity, which is where expectations often clash with reality. The even G2 surprises here. Not because it tries to replace your phone or laptop, but because it handles microtasks extremely well. Transcriptions, notes, short references, subtle reminders, things that normally force you to stop what you're doing and unlock your phone. Instead, appear gently when needed. You glance, absorb, and continue. Over time, this reduces friction in ways you don't immediately notice. The Meta Ray-Ban display approaches productivity through interaction, not structure. Voice commands, quick replies, capturing moments. It excels at staying connected. But when you try to use it as a focused productivity tool, the single-eye display and audio-first approach can feel limiting. You're doing things, but you're also aware you're doing them through a device. Then there's navigation, which is one of the clearest examples of how these philosophies diverge. With the even G2, navigation cues sit in your vision, like distant signposts. You're still looking at the street, the cars, the people, but now you also have quiet reassurance. You're going the right way. No arrows screaming for attention. No constant audio instructions. Just presence. With the Meta Ray-Ban display, navigation feels more guided. Audio cues remind you of turns. The display supports confirmation. It works, but it asks more of you. More listening, more acknowledgement, more interaction. Neither is wrong. There's simply different relationships with information. And here's the thing no one tells you before you try smart glasses. Your tolerance for interaction changes depending on your mood. Some days you want guidance. Other days you want silence. The glasses that survive long-term use are the ones that respect both states. This becomes especially clear after hours of wear. The Even G2 stays physically forgettable. The weight distribution doesn't change. The pressure points remain stable. Your brain eventually stops checking in on them. They become an extension of your routine. The Meta Ray-Ban display keeps reminding you it's there not aggressively, but persistently. Between audio, display presence, and gesture awareness, your attention periodically shifts back to the device. Again, for some users, this feels engaging. For others, it creates fatigue, and fatigue is not about discomfort alone. It's about cognitive load. How much you're managing without realizing it. Now let's talk about cameras, because this is where expectations often overpower reality. Yes, the Meta Ray-Ban display includes cameras. Yes, they capture photos and videos. And yes, there's real value in hands-free capture. But there's also restraint built into the experience. You don't constantly record because the glasses don't encourage constant recording. There's no giant record button tempting you to turn every moment into content. The absence of a camera on the Even G2 creates a different behavior entirely. You stop thinking about capturing and start thinking about experiencing. And interestingly, that doesn't feel like a loss. Your phone is still there when you need it. The glasses simply don't compete for that role. Audio follows the same pattern. The Meta Ray-Ban display integrates sound into daily life. Calls feel natural. Music feels accessible. The sound blends into your environment without isolating you. It's one of the strongest parts of the experience. The Even G2 skips this entirely. No audio, no distractions. And because of that, you don't feel pulled into micro moments of consumption throughout the day. You're either actively using them, or you're not. By now, you may have noticed a pattern forming. One pair of glasses expands your digital presence. The other protects your mental space. And this leads to a realization that doesn't happen on day 1 or day 2, it happens after the novelty fades. After the testing phase ends. When routine takes over, routine is ruthless. It doesn't care how impressive technology is. It only keeps what helps. And as routine settles in, you start to feel which glasses align with how you naturally move through the world. But there's still one more layer we haven't fully explored: the display experience itself over long sessions. And how your eyes and brain respond over time. This is where initial excitement often collides with human biology, and this is also where one of these glasses makes a decision that might surprise you once you live with it long enough. At some point, usually a few days in, something unexpected happens. You stop testing the glasses, and they start testing you. Not in a dramatic, flashy way, but quietly, subtly. Your eyes get a vote. Your brain gets a vote. And they're honest. Voters, the kind that speak without exaggeration. That's the part no spec sheet or review ever talks about. The way smart glasses measure not what they can do, but how your mind adapts, adjusts, and responds. And this, oddly enough, becomes the real metric of their usefulness. Let's start with the Even G2. The first thing you notice is restraint. The display doesn't compete for attention, it coexists. Monocular, monochrome, precise. You glance, you see, you act. There's no animation fanfare, no blinking icons demanding attention. After an hour, after 3 hours, even after a whole day, your eyes don't feel like they've been juggling multiple layers of information. No fatigue sneaks up on you. You check your notifications dozens of times, scroll through AI summaries, glance at a translation, and still, your eyes feel normal. Not tired, not strained. Your focus doesn't fracture. And at night, that's when it truly hits you. You haven't rubbed your eyes more than usual. Your mind hasn't spun itself into exhaustion. It's subtle, almost invisible, but it's there. That's restraint, and it matters more than most people expect. Now switch your attention to the Meta Ray-Ban display. The display is crisp, readable, undeniably smart, but its intelligence comes with presence. Every notification, every audio cue, every subtle vibration or prompt keeps your brain on alert. You respond even when you don't consciously want to. The interaction loop never fully disappears. You take it off during a break, leave it on the table during a walk, not because something is wrong, but because your brain needs silence. Not uncomfortable, it's attentive. It's not annoying. It's persistent. Presence becomes part of the mental landscape, and for some, that constant low-level stimulation is welcome. For others, it accumulates, slowly, like static in the background, subtly shaping your behavior. And this difference between the two devices reveals itself in how your eyes behave. With the Even G2, your gaze remains natural. You aren't shifting focus rapidly between layers of information. The ring control reinforces this. You choose when to interact. You decide when a notification matters. You scroll, select, and swipe, but only when you intend to. Contrast that with Meta Ray-Ban display. Sometimes interaction initiates itself. A notification pops up, a voice prompt starts, an audio alert draws your attention. You respond, you acknowledge, you continue. It's helpful, yes, but your energy is spent in rhythm with the device, not just the moment. Conversations are influenced by subtle reminders that your attention is split between the real world and the digital overlay. And over long periods, even small energy expenditures add up. This is where silence comes into play, something very few reviewers discuss. Silence with Even G2 feels intentional. The absence of prompts, of cues, of notifications isn't emptiness, it's space. It's a design choice that gives your eyes and brain a moment to rest. With Meta Ray-Ban display, silence is a pause. Between interactions, a gap in the rhythm, rather than the intentional stillness. One keeps you relaxed. The other keeps you ready. Neither is inherently better, but both influence long-term wearability, subtly shaping how long you can comfortably use the glasses in a single stretch. The learning curve is another revealing layer. Even G2 doesn't shout at you, it doesn't force tutorials or announcements. You learn by doing, by experimenting, by understanding what matters to you. The ring becomes second nature. The interface fades into muscle memory. Your hands and eyes move together naturally, seamlessly, without conscious thought. Meta Ray-Ban display, by contrast, is immediately familiar. Voice control is intuitive. Audio feedback confirms every action. It's accessible, welcoming, almost comforting. Beginners can jump in with minimal effort. But that ease has a subtle trade-off. Familiarity shapes habits. Some users find themselves talking to the glasses more than they interact with their environment. Subtle, personal, and almost invisible, but it exists. Then comes long-term ownership. Errors appear eventually. No technology is flawless. Missed notifications, misheard commands, delayed feedback. With Even G2, errors are quiet. You notice, correct, move on. The flow of your day remains mostly uninterrupted. With Meta Ray-Ban display, errors break the rhythm. You repeat yourself, you re-engage. It's not catastrophic, but it's noticeable. Flow, the invisible metric that governs comfort, productivity, and presence, fluctuates based on design choices. Not specs. Not megapixels. Flow. And speaking of flow, let's talk about daily life. With Even G2, your phone barely leaves your pocket. Your AI transcripts capture conversations without distraction. Your teleprompter works quietly, in line of sight, without demanding focus. Notifications appear only when you want. Translations happen as needed. Calendar reminders, notes, simple navigation, everything happens without visual or cognitive overload. Meta Ray-Ban display, in contrast, keeps a gentle pull on your attention. Messages, calls, and media prompts create an undercurrent of engagement that's harder to ignore. You can still live your day, yes, but the glasses themselves become part of the interaction loop. Physical design further reinforces this. Even G2's magnesium and titanium frame is lightweight and unobtrusive. You forget you're wearing them. After minutes, even hours. Meta Ray-Ban display, with its chunkier plastic frame, announces itself continuously. Not painfully, not excessively, but perceptibly. You notice when stretching, bending, or tilting your head. Even small movements remind you of its presence. And that awareness, paired with constant prompts, subtly influences how long you choose to wear it, how you move, and even how you socialize. Social dynamics also shift. Even G2 is invisible to others. People rarely notice, rarely question. Interaction remains natural. Meta Ray-Ban display, with visible cameras and tech accents, attracts curiosity. Questions, brief explanations, small interruptions. Some users embrace this, it sparks engagement. Others find it subtly affects conversation dynamics. Neither is right or wrong. Both are part of the experience, shaping how you integrate smart glasses into life. Battery life becomes a psychological factor too. Even G2 lasts over a day comfortably. The case provides multiple charges, meaning the glasses integrate smoothly into daily routines. Meta Ray-Ban display requires more frequent attention. Not burdensome, but it frames interaction. Charging becomes part of the mental rhythm, a factor in when and how you use the device. Small, invisible, but persistent. Ultimately, the difference comes down to control. Even G2 feels like an extension of intention. You choose when, where, and how to interact. Meta Ray-Ban display feels like an active participant. It's attentive, responsive, ready, and present. Both are valid approaches. Both reveal the invisible choices that shape attention, focus, and comfort over extended wear. The specs and feature lists can't capture this. The real test occurs across days, weeks, and months, the subtle ways the glasses integrate or compete with your attention. Finally, there's the subtle but transformative effect on your phone use. With even G2, your smartphone becomes auxiliary. It stays tucked away. Notifications, translations, and AI assistants appear in your line of sight. You reach for it less. You interact with the world more. With Meta Ray-Ban display, the phone still plays a role, but the glasses keep you engaged with the device itself, changing how, when, and why you access information. The shift is quiet, almost invisible, but profoundly felt after consistent use. This is the true comparison. Beyond specs and screens, cameras and rings, beyond price and design. It's about choice. Which glasses do you reach for without thinking? Which ones fit into life without demanding compromise? Which ones give you quiet flow, and which ones keep you constantly aware? These questions define ownership. They define satisfaction. They define what the future of smart glasses will truly look like in daily life. Subtle, personal, and deeply human. And that is where the story ends. Not with a winner, but with clarity. Because once you see how these devices interact with your attention, your energy, your eyes, your mind, you begin to understand that the future of smart glasses isn't about doing more. It's about demanding less, thoughtfully, intentionally. It's about choice, flow, and presence. And that's a lesson no spec sheet or marketing video can convey, but it's the one you carry forward every single day you wear them. By now, the experience of living with these glasses stretches far beyond any spec sheet or marketing brochure. It's no longer just about displays, rings, or neural bands. It's about life unfolding in the quiet presence of assistance. With even G2, your phone barely leaves your pocket. You notice it not because it demands attention, but because it subtly reshapes how you interact with your day. Notifications appear without fanfare. Translations whisper in real time as you converse. AI-generated notes capture what matters most without interrupting the flow of your thoughts. You move through life with your eyes ahead, hands-free, mind lightly guided, and the most fascinating part? You barely notice it. That's the power of restraint. It's not about impressing anyone. It's about seamless integration, almost like the technology was always meant to disappear into daily life. Contrast that with the Meta Ray-Ban display. Here, the story changes subtly but unmistakably. In social spaces, cafes, co-working spaces, even during quick chats at a meeting, you feel the glasses' presence. Its notifications, audio cues, and single-eye display are constant companions. They enrich some moments beautifully. Captions appear in real time, media can be captured instantly. Calls flow with minimal effort, and quick replies feel natural. But other moments feel occupied. You're interacting more than observing. Every glance at the display is a decision. Every sound reminds you to stay aware. Even when idle, a part of your mind remains engaged. It's not uncomfortable. It's not intrusive. It's simply present. But over hours, that subtle influence accumulates, quietly shaping behavior, attention, and the rhythm of your day. Design and physicality also play a more important role than specs can explain. Even G2's magnesium and titanium frame seems to vanish on your face. Hours pass, and you forget it's there. The weight, the balance, the way it hugs your nose and ears, all of it melts into normalcy. You can tilt your head, lean over, or glance sideways without even noticing the frame. The glasses exist only when you interact with them. In contrast, the Meta Ray-Ban display's chunkier plastic frame has a constant presence. It's not heavy. It doesn't hurt. But you feel it. You notice it when stretching, bending, or checking your surroundings. And that subtle awareness, combined with the display's persistent readiness, influences how long you wear it comfortably. You might remove it for a walk, leave it on the table during breaks, or hesitate to put it back on after an hour. The physical weight and display presence together create a rhythm you adapt to, whether consciously or unconsciously. Battery life, often overlooked in discussions of wearable tech, quietly influences experience as well. Even G2 comfortably lasts over a day of continuous use, and the case charges it multiple times, integrating naturally into daily routines. You never think twice about whether it will run out mid-task. The Meta Ray-Ban display, while impressive in function, demands more. Frequent attention. Not inconvenient, not prohibitive, but noticeable. It frames interaction, subtly reminding you that the device needs your care. Each notification or check becomes part of an ongoing loop that's easier to ignore with the G2, but unavoidable with the Ray-Ban. Over weeks of use, these patterns charging, interacting, glancing shape behavior in ways you only realize after long-term experience. Social interaction further highlights the difference. With even G2, you're mostly invisible. People rarely notice your glasses, rarely question them, rarely hesitate. Conversations feel unaltered. There's no awkward pause as someone wonders if you're recording, no subtle social friction. Meta Ray-Ban display, by contrast, attracts attention. The visible cameras and tech accents prompt questions, brief explanations, and sometimes small interruptions. Some users welcome this. It sparks curiosity, engagement, even admiration. Others find it subtly disruptive. Conversations occasionally pause, attention divides, and your own behavior shifts in response. Both experiences are valid, both are honest, and both influence long-term use, but the subtle differences matter more than a spec sheet can capture. Trust develops differently with each device. Even G2's quiet subtlety fosters confidence. You know where information will appear, when to interact, and what to expect. There's a consistency, a rhythm, a silent reliability. Meta Ray-Ban display engenders a different form of trust. You rely on its presence, its cues, its attention to detail. The device feels alive in a sense, responsive to you in ways that the G2 doesn't. But that responsiveness carries a hidden cost. Cognitive energy. One device supports without interruption. The other supervises while assisting. Both build trust. But the emotional relationship differs profoundly. Everyday routines illustrate these distinctions even further. With even G2, your phone becomes auxiliary rather than central. Shopping lists appear in your line of sight. AI-generated summaries guide conversations, and translations happen seamlessly during multilingual interactions. You scroll, glance, act, and return to the moment. Meta Ray-Ban display allows similar capabilities but requires ongoing attention. Messages, calls, and media prompts draw you in. You interact. Your mind splits between observation and response. The glasses enhance activity but subtly demand presence. Even G2 minimizes mental overhead. Meta Ray-Ban maximizes connectedness. And depending on personality, context, or task, one approach may feel effortless while the other feels deliberate. The way these devices integrate into your life also affects perception of the future of smart glasses. Even G2 feels like a companion that vanishes when not needed. You don't think about it. You don't schedule around it. You simply move through life with discreet support. Meta Ray-Ban display, however, feels like a powerful assistant, always present, always engaged. You're aware of it. You adapt to it. You may even plan around its cues and limitations. Neither is better universally. They are different philosophies. Manifest in hardware. Even subtler effects manifest over weeks of use. With even G2, attention shifts naturally. You use the phone less, you check screens less. You interact with the world more directly. Tasks that would normally demand phone. Interaction notes, reminders, translations occur in the glasses' field of view. With Meta Ray-Ban display, the phone is still relevant, but you're consistently aware of the device itself. Every glance, every prompt, every interaction reinforces its presence. The behavioral shift is less about efficiency and more about mental engagement, the constant rhythm of attentiveness. Both create new patterns of focus and attention, but in contrasting ways. Finally, long-term ownership shapes emotional response. Even G2 inspires ease. You trust it, rely on it, and then forget it exists. Meta Ray-Ban display inspires awareness. You trust its guidance, acknowledge its alerts, and accept the subtle energy cost of being engaged. Both create attachment, but in distinctly different ways. One disappears into the background. One occupies space in your mind. The subtle difference defines user experience more than any display resolution, processor, or frame material ever could. And so, when you ask which smart glasses are the future, the answer isn't found in specs. It's found in everyday life, in how the devices interact with attention, flow, and perception. Even G2 offers a quiet, empowering companion. Meta Ray-Ban display provides a present, attentive assistant. Neither is universally superior. Both reveal the hidden ways technology integrates with life, how it shapes attention, cognition, social interaction, and the subtle rhythms of daily existence. In the end, this isn't about glasses. It's about awareness, control, choice, and the almost invisible ways technology can coexist with life, not to dominate, not to distract, but to support, subtly and intelligently. And that, more than specs, more than hype, is the truest glimpse into the future that smart glasses can offer. It's a future that's personal, experiential, and deeply human. The choice between these glasses becomes a reflection of the life you want to lead, the attention you want to preserve, and the presence you wish to cultivate. One quiet, empowering, the other present, attentive. Both real, both honest, both illuminating in their own way.